again, like going back to what we were just saying, yeah, being more comfortable paying attention to and knowing how fear can be impactful for you. Because for some of us, it can be one of those things that we've learned to like believe it's not really there, really as a means to like keep going, keep pressing to continue to achieve and overcome. And so making room for that. And then with that, we're able to tap into our legacy of courage. So, like Camille has mentioned, and going back to the tricks, right? So if we totally try to ignore and block out and dishonor the fear, then we also would have to ignore, block out, and dishonor the courage. I'm Kim.
And I'm Camille, and this is Enneagram for the Culture, where two dope Black therapists discuss how therapy, Blackness, and the Enneagram come together. Hello.
How's it going?
It's going. I'm excited about today.
Me too. I woke up excited.
Ooh.
I did. I woke up like Saturday. It's a day to sleep in, but I woke up early, like I was going to work. I tried to go back to sleep, but then I started having weird dreams. And I was like, no, I'm going to go ahead and just get up. Yeah. I started watching The Watcher on Netflix.
That already sounds scary for me.
Yep. It is. But it's good. But it had me thinking people was in my house and stuff in my dreams. So got on up.
Oh, no.
And I'm excited.
Yeah. I'm in a sweet watch pocket of Great British Bake Off and Love is Blind, and I just finished RuPaul's Drag Race. So I've got a good thing going right now. I'm not going to mess it up with The Watcher.
I wouldn't even ask you to. I know that's not your jam. You don't like scary stuff in general, right?
No, do not like scary stuff. Absolutely not. The scariest movie I've ever seen is The Mummy, and
yeah, that was woo-wee scary.
And I also have seen Sixth Sense.
Yes,
I still think that that's as much as I'm going. I did watch the I think it was like Hannibal in like high school with friends, and I literally had my eyes over my hands over my eyes the entire time. So I did not watch it. I just heard it. I don't even remember like a scene from it. So yep. The Mummy and the Sixth Sense. And actually probably Jumanji, the original. That was also really scary. So that's another scary movie.
With Robin Williams?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure there wasn't a Jumanji that, like that I didn't.
I was scared. And I actually saw a meme that was like, nobody talked about how scary that movie was as a kid. It was scary.
I love that movie.
Too scary for me.
Movie.
I did like it, but it was scary.
It's a Disney movie, isn't it? Isn't it by Disney?
Do you want to be playing a game and then all of a sudden the animals come alive and start chasing you?
I don't.
Does that sound like a fun afternoon to you, Kim?
Yeah, but it was a movie.
But it was scary because they were running for their lives.
I'm sorry that you were afraid. I am.
And they didn't know if they were going to be able to get the animals back into the board game.
Right. I mean, it was adventurous for sure, but it's not cool for me to try to tell you, if it was, I'm sorry. Thriller.
Thank you.
For the longest, I couldn't watch the music video, Michael Jackson,
Yeah.
I couldn't watch it.
Yeah.
Not till I was grown. There's something about, I don't do zombies.
I was okay with that because they're dancing.
Yeah.
So I was okay with.
They were dancing after they looked like, so I'm talking about the full length video where they at the beginning, like, actually starts off with them in a movie and then he turns into a werewolf.
Yeah.
And then the mummies, they come busting in old girls. That part is the part that really scares me, that they're like just bust through the walls. And then they danced. And then, but Michael turned into a zombie.
I think I was okay with it because I think my love of music like superseded. And so I like just pushed through. I also think, even though that's a very old music video, I don't think because my family was really strict on TV. So I don't think I really saw that music video until maybe like middle school. So I was like old enough to be able to handle it. Like I wasn't a little girl. So if I was probably like 5 or 6 or something, I would probably be really scared. And when did it come out? Was it 1985 or is it less? Is it older than that? No, it has to be later than that.
No, that probably
Thriller music video. 1983.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if I saw it when I was little, no, but I definitely saw it in the 90s. So I was older enough to make it work.
I was grown before I could watch it all. And I had to watch it with my mama and my dad. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
Okay.
Jumanji for you, Thriller for me.
It's cool. And now The Watcher, The Watchman or The Watcher.
It's The Watcher. It's yeah. Like I said, and when I finished watching it last night, I was like, I hope I don't have any weird dreams. And I didn't at first. It was just when I tried to go back to sleep, I definitely dreamt that people were in my house, like taking over my house. But it wasn't scary. It was just kind of like, and I remembered what I was watching last night and it made sense.
I get way too scared. Nope. Even you just telling me this, I might have bad dreams because of this. Oh, no. I probably won't, but I will go to bed going, I hope I don't have bad dreams because Kim told me about people might be in her house.
There's definitely no people in my house. But yes, that was
I'll make sure I'll be putting my alarm on tonight. Don't worry.
It's funny. We're talking about fears and
yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yep. We're in the triad that is all about fear. And today we're talking about sixes. So yeah, they are probably laughing right along with all of this. Sixes, you let us know what the scariest movie you've seen is because I think you might be in the same pocket of me as that your scariest movie is The Mummy with Brendan Fraser. Please let us know.
All right, let's do this.
So first, how has the Enneagram showed up for you?
Oh yeah. So I remembered a question you asked me about, it was one of your very creative, curious questions. If I could carry anything with me, what would it be? And I think I said Jesus, which that still stands.
Like if you carry one item with you, only one item, what would it be?
Okay. Yeah, and you were like, and it can't be your phone.
Yes, yeah, it can't be your phone.
So again, I mean, Jesus, I know he's not an item, but at the time that was the best I could come up with, which is really how this show is like, I think a 3 thing. My true answer is music.
Okay.
And I know, again, that's not really an item, but if I can't have my phone, the CD, I might just be a hum. Like, I just realized how incredible, like I tend to carry music with me all the time. But I think the fact that how I see this showing up with my type structure is that sometimes I think for 3s, like we have to take our time to really pay attention because we can be so out of touch with our, like what's really true for us. And that was something that, like, when I was learning about 3s, I really didn't like that descriptor that sometimes 3s cannot really know who they are. All the types in the heart triad, because the whole image thing can just lose sight of what feels like really true for you. So I think the fact that it took me some time, I don't remember what I was doing, but it was just like, oh, it's music. So I was like, yeah, that's some 3 stuff. Sometimes we probably need to just like honor that we may not know immediately. Answers are in there, but we probably just have to like slow down and actually like pay attention. I think that that's true for like the question of hobbies too. Sometimes like at first that can be like, I mean, I work, that's my hobby. I love what I do and I want to do it all the time. Leave me alone. And that like irritation about being asked that question, I think again, it's just reflective of like, you don't really know. And that doesn't feel comfortable, but you have hobbies. You just have to like slow down and like pay attention. So that's how it showed up.
That is so fascinating. And I wonder, question mark, if there is not only do I have to slow down and figure it out, but I also have to like get over that it might not be I have to think about how is this answer going to be seen. Like if my hobby is something that might not be cool or is like a guilty pleasure, am I okay with sharing that? And so again, like what's the optics of me sharing this thing? So not only do I have to slow down and get to my answer, I have to get over that I'm sharing something vulnerably and someone might not see it as positive.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I we know how I feel about basketball. 2K23 came out and I purchased it immediately for 2 different game consoles. It was, not cheap.
Yes.
In my budget because it's one of the things that I love. But, I think about somebody ask me, especially like a guy and like, exploring that world again. And I'm like, yeah, and I could probably, smoke you on 2K. How that looks. So absolutely, you're right.
I didn't know that you play. So this is a video game?
Basketball.
And I didn't know that you played video games.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Basketball video games. Do you play other video games too? Can you play other video games?
The only other video game that I really like is Tekken. And that's a game I've like played since I was a child. LaDonna, I used to really give her the smoke on Tekken. So she's laughing right now.
Oh, shout out to LaDonna. She's the person that does our content writing for all of our Instagrams. So she listens. So LaDonna, does LaDonna still play? Do you know?
I doubt, but she can. LaDonna, you could come to Charlotte and get this, and I could whoop you in Tekken like all the time. She's also my cousin. So yeah, I could, yeah, we can do that.
Oh my gosh, I love this. I don't know how to play video games. I am the inept person that like even holding the controller. I just do not have the hand-eye coordination. Like it's so bad. When I was dating a guy, he was trying to teach me and I was just like, I can't, like I missed it. Like I can't do it. And I'm sad because it's a skill that so many people have and that I'm literally inept. I just can't do it. And so it's interesting how I just never grew up with video games. Again, I just told you, we already heard my family was strict on TV. And so definitely not video games. And so I don't know it. I don't know it at all. But I love the idea of like, cause I know so many, gender stereotypes. I know a lot of men play video games. And I like the idea of being able to play with a partner. Like, I think that would be really fun to sit down and play a video game together. And I can't. So
yeah. It's for sure one of those things that like you were just saying, like you as a woman who's, very, very in touch with my femininity, and to know that for so many people they do associate that with guys, it's kind of like, oh, well, how's this going to be seen? So I
think it's probably seen as cool that you know how to play basketball video games, so you can play with your partner, or you're going to.
Wait. Not only will we play, you get the smoke. Like, I'm gonna smoke you. Yeah. Yep. Because that's what we do.
But then they're gonna want to play a game that you don't know how to play,
and I'm not playing.
And you're gonna win at that game too, Kim.
All I play is 2K and Tekken. I don't want to play Madden. I don't want to play any of the like Call of Duty, the shooting stuff. I'm not 2K, Tekken. That's literally the only reason I have
those video game consoles. Amazing. Okay, and then the way the Enneagram has showed up for me, this is really random, but I had a friend over the other night and she had never been to my place. And we were just gonna have like a wine night, cheese, hang out and catch up. And I needed to get her a glass of water. And I noticed in my like cabinet of cups is all of my cups, they're not adult cups. They're like cups from the years. They're cups from the memories. Like right now I'm drinking out of a University of Florida cup, like a tumbler. I have like cups from when I went to Mardi Gras, because sometimes they throw out cups. I have cups from like a vacation that I just took. They had these little plastic cups. So I have all these like really like college dorm room style cups.
Yeah.
And I feel kind of like loserish that I don't have like real glassware. I have some I have some glassware if I need it to be fancy. But for the most part, my cups are like just like memories. And I think I was like, I just think because they make me happy. Like I love opening up my cupboard and like having like seeing all the memories and like being able to be like, which cup am I going to use today? Like, what am I feeling? And it just brings me so much joy rather than just using a glass cup.
Gotcha. Like the picture.
Yeah. And I was like, I think that this is a little bit of the sevenness of like the fun of different cups. And that regular glass cups would be boring.
I get that. Yeah. So like the joy, and like you were just kind of explaining with your photos, like being able to kind of go back and like remember some of the like the fun experiences and the joy they brought. I get that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also there's some pretty cool glassware out there. That yeah, there is. Or maybe you should get glassware with like pictures printed on them.
No, I don't want that. But I have a lot of, when it comes to glassware, I think if I had more space, because I have a lot of wine glasses. I love wine, but and people give me wine glasses as gifts and I love them. And so like I have like multiple styles. Like, so it's almost like, and those are nice. Those aren't like memories or fun. And so it's almost like I'm like, I'd rather have my space be taken up with my nice glassware for wine stuff and little things like silly things for my water cups than to have nice glass cups for water and sacrifice my space for my wine glasses. Like I don't have enough space. I honestly don't have enough space for nice water glasses. And I'm not going to sacrifice the wine section. So
yeah, that sounds like some Marie Kondo theology. Do what brings you joy. Some regular, some glasses that's not going to bring you any joy. So yeah, we don't want them around anyway.
So if you come over to my house and we're having a nice meal, or if we're just hanging at my house, don't be surprised if you get a tumbler or a, cute cup from I don't know when. That's just my style. Yeah. It's just my style. Yeah. But I will give you a nice wine glass. Don't worry. The wine glasses will be good. They'll be beautiful.
Yeah, probably an incredible story about how you ended up with that cup. That's what I'm excited for.
Yeah. Yeah. This one I got for free from the University of Florida Alumni Association because I donated and they gave me a cup. So I like it though.
And you love.
I love these. I do love being a Gator. All right, so that's how it showed up for us. And let's go ahead and jump into our 6 friends then, right?
Yeah. I'm not ready. I don't have my notes, but I'm getting there. So, so I'll start with giving us a little bit of an overview about about 6s. And if you want to learn more about 6s, go back and check out episode 10 in season 1, where we do a little bit deeper of a dive. But for now, just as a refresher, 6s are known as loyalists or the loyal skeptic. They're some of the most reliable, hardworking, dutiful, and steady people out there. They can feel the demands of life so much that their dependability, their sense of humor, their ability to foresee problems, and their fierce loyalty to causes that are important to them can just be an incredible contribution to the relationships that they have. They hold groups together and they really feel like there's a benefit in the common good. 6s can fear itself. They can fear being without support. They can fear not having security or guidance. They can be fearful of being blamed, targeted, or physically abandoned. The core desire for 6s is having security and guidance and being supported. Their weakness is anxiety. So scanning the horizon of life and trying to predict and prevent negative outcomes, especially worst case scenarios, and remaining in a constant state of apprehension and worry. And the core longing for 6s is to know that they're safe and secure.
Nice. So for this season, right, we're jumping into the idea of the holy idea, virtues, passion, and fixation for each number. And so for sixes, the holy idea, which as we've talked about before, is the play when sixes release the grip on their personality. This is what they're going to sort of live into, this holy idea. And their holy idea is the word faith. And that is described as this belief that no danger can overtake or destroy the self. There is a confidence and a trust that they will not be destroyed, and that they can understand that they have the strength to be able to handle things. They can live in the moment instead of planning and avoiding danger. So really great idea. Faith obviously has a really big religious connotation, that word, faith. And so whether or not you come into this from a religious background or not, and we'll talk about this later, especially how it relates to Black people, but this idea of faith, that faith can be anything that's bigger than yourself, anything that is, whether it's the universe or God or karma or whatever is just bigger than us, is what we want to look at when we look at this word. And knowing that thing that's bigger than you, is able to give you the strength to know that I will not be taken out, and that I will not be destroyed, and that I can trust that thing that's bigger than me. Sometimes when I'm working with clients and it is important as a practitioner to weave in people's spiritual beliefs, because that's such a huge part of our identity. And so when people don't have when they don't subscribe to a religious belief system, I kind of changed it to the word meaning. Like, what is your higher meaning of the world or yourself? What gives you meaning? And so I'll kind of rephrase it as that, so that it's not just faith or, religion, because those words can be kind of tricky. So even as we're talking about this today, something that's bigger than yourself, that gives you the understanding and the belief that no danger can take you out, that you will be okay, and you can rest knowing that you will be okay, is what we mean by faith.
Yep. And so when sixes are out of touch, when they lose sight of the holy idea, which is faith, they slip into the fixation, which is cowardice. And that's shrinking and or thinking of everything out of the fear that they will be taken out. This can look like not showing up at all, or preparing and planning every scenario out mentally to avoid danger. And so we've talked about the bar for sixes, when they've got this tight grip on the bar. It can more than likely their mental habit is this fixation.
Yes. When they release the bar, what they exude is their virtue. And for sixes, their virtue is this beautiful word, courage. And so what we mean by courage in this context is that I can be afraid, but I can still move forward at the same time. There is a natural confidence in being able to meet the fears that exist in the world. Courage is such a beautiful word. When I think of courage, I think of courage means that I'm doing something even though I'm afraid. It doesn't take me courage to brush my teeth in the morning. I did not need any courage to do that. It takes me courage to go to the dentist, because I don't love going to the dentist. I'm afraid of what the dentist is going to tell me.
Yeah.
So I do need a sense of courage to go do that. Or it takes me courage to have a hard conversation.
Yeah.
It takes me courage to step out and take a job that I'm feeling unsure about. So I can be afraid and still move forward, is what it means to have courage. And that's what sixes can exude when they take away the fixation of the bar, or take away the cowardice. We talked a lot about this in season 1 for sixes, that sixes really are very courageous, and that sometimes they get this narrative that they're not, and that they're, cowards or weak or fearful, but really they're actually showing up to life. When they step into it, they're showing up to life in a very courageous way, because they're doing things even though they are afraid. and that they can still move forward at that same time.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that confidence is a part of that. Um,
Mm.
I love how like having those conversations in session with clients and helping them to realize. So by and large, a lot of people associate confidence with like not having any fear. They associate confidence with
Mhm.
fearlessness. And it's like, no, confidence is not like waiting until the butterflies are gone and then doing it. If it's something that's really gonna like, challenge you, stretch you, help you grow, like you're gonna be scared. So it's not that you wait until you're not scared anymore to do it. It's learning how to do it afraid. That's
Mm.
confidence. It's courage. You have to have courage to do that. And so I love that that's tied in there with courage.
Yeah, and even that word confidence, like whether it's confident sixes, we talked about this too, like having confidence in yourself that I can do this. And then also going back to the holy idea, confidence in your faith that like I will be taken care of. I will be okay. I have the strength, or the system has a safety for me. That confidence in either of those things are really clutch for sixes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and so being out of touch with that courage results in the passion for sixes, which is fear. And it can be intentional or not, but it's a feeling that drives sixes to shrink back, to overplan, to protect themselves, and to survive. It looks like uncertainty and a lack of trust that the six can do the thing and that it'll work out. So I was sharing with Camille, like, and she reminded me that I may have mentioned this. I don't know if I mentioned it like actually when we recorded or not, but and just sharing with her as I was learning about the Enneagram and my type, that as a 3, like my connection with sixes, it was hard. It was really the best way to describe it is like a block. It's like I could read the stuff about sixes, but just not really like, it just wasn't really sinking in like it was for pretty much all the other types. And I found that this was definitely the case with the whole head triad.
Mm.
For fives, it was easier for me to get, but I think it's because I had so much experience working with some fives. But for type 6 and type 7, it was just something about those two type structures that it was hard for me to understand, I guess. And so what I just realized recently that really is a block. It's because there are things for type 6 and type 7 that it really is a mirror for me in a lot of ways. And so I've been kind of like not maybe not wanting to understand it. But in both cases, it's this fear and how it can drive 4/6s, like their sense of loyalty to certain things, or really sticking with and holding on to certain things, that I was like, oof, that's some of my stuff. That's some of my
Mm.
stuff. That's definitely some of my stuff. So um, it can be a blind spot, this fear.
Mm.
It may not necessarily always, resonate that it's fear. But it's important to like lean in and kind of do the work and pay attention to like how that fear can be showing up and being impactful.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I think what I'm also hearing you say is that like sixes are very openly, they, especially if they're not a counterphobic, if they're in, just I don't know what you call it, a regular six.
Phobic, phobic 6.
What'd you say? A
Phobic.
phobic six. Thank you. If you're a phobic six, they're very outward about fear. They will tell you, I'm afraid. Like they don't hide that. Like they are very comfortable and vocal about their fear. And so I get, yeah, I think I'm hearing you also say is that like, yeah, I don't play that game. Like I don't talk about my fear. I don't share my fear. And so to have a six be like, yeah, I'm afraid, you're kind of like, but
Like
then for you to
like
recognize,
that,
like, no.
like for me, like that literally, like I don't understand that language. Like I don't. For the longest, I really did not know what my fears were. So again, like landing on a 3 and reading that, so my fear is like failure. Like what? No, like I'm not scared of that. I always thought my fear was snakes, which it is, and loss, like my losing my parents or people that I'm close to, and that was it. Um, but it's not fear.
Yeah.
Like it's very very relevant and impactful and shows up on a daily basis for me. So
Again, why we both love the Enneagram is that all of these numbers are so beautiful and they show us things about ourselves. And recognizing, and I remember we talked when you were telling me a little bit about this, I was like, oh, this is kind of when I had to stop and look at my relationship with twos and like,
yeah.
what is it about twos that feels weird for me, and able to name that. And then for you to be like, oh, what is it about sixes that feels weird for me? Oh, it's that fear is not something that I like to live into or talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. And how much it can just drive you, how much it can
Mhm.
drive like how you're thinking, how much it can drive how you're showing up, just how much it can be a factor as far as like what's driving you. Ugh.
Yeah. And sixes, as they're listening, are like, yeah, yeah, yeah. They're like, yeah, totally, totally get that. Hey, so a part of our hope is to really connect with you guys. So we want to know what you're getting from this and what you want to learn more about on this podcast.
You can connect with Camille on Instagram at camille.logan.lcmhc.
And you can find Kim on Instagram at KReeseLCSW.
And you can follow us both on Instagram at Enneagram for the Culture. We've dropped the links in the show notes, so check those out too. And while you're there, go ahead and bless us with a rating and a review. Subscribe so you can be notified when our new episodes drop weekly, and share this with someone you know. We'll see you around.
Okay. So those are all of the little areas of this number, the holy idea and the fixation and the passion. And so let's jump into, how does this show up particularly for Black sixes?
Yeah. So speaking of fear, we probably touched on this last season, but just the unique, I would say, relationship Black people in this country can have with fear. I mean, for most of us going back, our lineage, us even getting over here, like, is very much rooted in fear. And ever since we've been here, policies, systems, so much of it invoking fear in us and for us, in our experiences. And so naming that and honoring that, and again, like going back to what we were just saying, being more comfortable paying attention to and knowing how fear can be impactful for you. Because for some of us, it can be one of those things that we've learned to like believe it's not really there, really, as a means to like keep going, keep pressing to continue to achieve and overcome. And so making room for that. And then with that, we're able to tap into our legacy of courage. So, like Camille has mentioned, and going back to the tricks, right? So if we totally try to ignore and block out and dishonor the fear, then we also would have to ignore, block out, and dishonor the courage. We have a legacy of courage as a people because of some of the stuff we just talked about. And so it's important for us to, again, just make space for it, to honor it, to know that we have access to it.
Yeah. I think I said this too when we were planning this session. During summer 2020, when things were really hard and scary and fearful around Black people, I started wearing actually a necklace, and it says courage. And the reason why I chose it was because of the fear around Blackness and the world and the policies and the bullshit, and I'm needing like a sense of courage to show up to work and
Yeah.
show up in my friend systems and to go to the grocery store,
Yeah.
everything. And so, yeah, it's interesting that, yes, I see that for me personally, that like courage became like a thing that I needed. I'm not wearing it today, which is weird. I usually literally wear it like 24/7. And now obviously it's taken on other meanings, but it really was out of my blackness that I started wearing courage around my neck. Because it can be scary, but then knowing that we do have a legacy of courage, that we do have the ability to be courageous, and then even the faith part of that, of what I can be courageous because I have the confidence in my abilities, but then also in my faith, that I will not be taken out. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, this is great. Like we're just flowing. So building on confidence. So how as Black people, our confidence, it can be something that more than likely at some point has been like fragmented or shut down. I'm gonna just say this how I want to, because
Mhm.
actually I'm gonna borrow some words of a friend of mine, um, who said once that while America and Black people, like that's one of the biggest gaslights in history, for us to
Mhm.
um, at different phases as a people, at different phases as individual Black people, just kind of consistently having these experiences where you're trying to tell me about my truth or who I am or who I'm not, and you don't even like you can't know. Um, so how that can just have an impact on our confidence, and how that, again, it's an experience that most of us have had probably pretty young, probably multiple times, and and just how that can lead to just like another layer of questioning at times for us, and self-doubt if we aren't, again, tapped into our faith, tapped into that
Mhm.
courage. So
Mhm.
um yeah, pretty relevant way I feel it can show up for Black.
Yeah, and we have written down here this sentence of like, yeah, this extra layer of self-doubt can develop because of that gaslighting, we can start to actually doubt ourselves, and doubt, am I do I belong? Am I smart enough? Am I pretty enough? Am I safe? Um am I dangerous? Like, like like all of this stuff that we can start to question for ourselves because of the ways that society has said stuff. And for us to really lean into the confidence and courage and faith that no, that's not accurate.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Am I difficult? Am I angry? Am I like all yeah, it's all coming, it's all bubbling up for me. Like the questioning that I do sometimes of like, oh my gosh, like am I being ridiculous?
Mhm.
So yeah. And so we talked about, yeah, like, and Kim just said a second ago, like leaning into our faith with that. And again, we really wanted to talk about faith in this episode because one, it's kind of actually sixes usually kind of have a pretty strong faith system. Um, religious wise or even just spirituality, like they usually do have a pretty good spiritual sense
It's definitely taken as
because
like a
again,
value of theirs. Like it's something that
yeah,
it feels like they don't actually like currently have one. When you talk to a six normally, somewhere like it comes up that it's something that it's a value.
it's a value, yeah. And so high probability that sixes have a pretty strong faith system. But then we started talking about faith and religion and Black people and how that is part of the culture as well, is to have a church, real, I mean, we'll be real, a religious Christian upbringing, in as a Black person, that's a high probability. And that sometimes though that's really great. Like I remember actually at the African American Museum that we went to, like one of my favorite things to see is you see like there's different threads that you see throughout the museum. One of them is women, is Black women. You see how like that Black women have shown up throughout the whole story of the African American experience. But then the other thread that you see is the church, and religion, and just how that has continually shown up, and been a big part of the story, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So that's an amazing part of our culture. And sometimes it can be a tricky part of our culture, and it can carry a lot of church hurt, church spiritual trauma, those kind of words. It can be where there's a lot of spiritual bypassing, which is where we will kind of bypass an experience by using religious words to kind of like get over it. So like, I'm just going to pray about it. You just need Jesus. Too blessed to be stressed. Like these sort of ways that's like, oh, no, we're not going to think about that. We're just going to bring it to Jesus, which is great in some ways, but then also can be a lot of bypassing of some real emotions that are there.
Yes.
And that's just important to note as part of Black culture, that it's a complex issue.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And there's work that we need to do. And like in the church, like just speaking candidly, like it's something that needs to change, that is changing. I love that my pastor talks openly about going to therapy himself, encouraging folks to go to therapy, and not in like a judgmental, shaming way, which in itself is, in my opinion, in my experience, like some evidence of that growth, because that used to not be something that was always spoken about so honestly and without judgment. So for us to for sure move more into to evolve, right? I mean, clearly we're spiritual beings. And like you've already said, like that's a part of our makeup, and so is our emotions. And so we need to figure out better and continue to work at like the intersection of those two things. I get so really excited about the opportunity there, right? Like if this could be something that the church gets a better grasp on, how much it really could help with healing for us because of the power of influence that the Black church has in our community. I mean, it truly is a cornerstone for us. So if we could figure that out more, I think it could just be so good for us, for our community.
Yeah. And I think that with that too, it's like an encouragement, not only from the like the structure, the system of the church to do this work, but then us as individuals, like on that micro level, to be able to pause and question for ourselves, like, what does faith mean for me? What does my spirituality look like for me? And sometimes we as people, just anybody, not just as people, like we can take something, and if it's good, we're like, yay. And if there's some bad things, we can kind of just like dismiss the whole thing, when really like the thing I've written down is like, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like don't throw the whole thing out without maybe making it your own and recognizing like, okay, what's the stuff that I really like about faith? What's the stuff that I have some question marks around? What's some stuff that I don't like? And how do I have those deeper questions to get to a place of understanding? And why this is important, especially for sixes, and this as we're talking about sixes, is if we don't pause to question that we might not have all the answers, some things, then we're going to walk away from something that might be actually good, because it's okay to doubt, it's okay to have questions, it's okay to be unsure, when it comes to life, but then also when it comes to our faith, and talking about that, like doubt is okay. And I recently, you're talking about like props for your pastor. Like recently my pastor just reposted something about doubt and talked about how faith and doubt is okay. And that doubt is us taking the mask off of like religious tyranny. And that it is okay to doubt. And I'm so thankful that my pastor talks about that. And that is not a sin to question, and that we are allowed to have questions. I also heard this quote once, that faith without questions is dogma. And so I really love that. That's really helpful for me. So all of this to say, there's work to be done on the big level around faith, and then in the individual level around faith. And yeah. And it goes back to the idea of the word faith as the only holy idea for sixes is that when we have a spiritual belief system that's bigger than ourselves, whatever that looks like, we know that we can lean on knowing that I'm taken care of. Um, and that's important.
Yeah. That's good. This is making me think about, like, so maybe for sixes to, um when it comes to probably like the natural tendency to question, um
Mm,
like, we're not saying that that has to go away, but to learn to not let that again be like what's paired with fear, like what's driving how you're showing up, right?
mhm,
So, I guess really that's what it boils down to is, are the questions helping you to like grow in your faith or are the questions fear driven,
stopping.
right?
Yeah.
And pushing you further away. So
I
I'm not
love
saying that you got to
that.
get rid of the questions. And even going back to, that we talked about the internal committee and how they can kind of show up. So we're not
Mhm,
saying that that has to go away, to just be mindful of, is it helping you to get deeper, closer? When it comes to faith, I mean, we're talking about coming to have that relationship really, for yourself. And so if you think about any relationships, like you don't have relationships and people aren't, you're not asking questions. It's how you grow. So, is it to help that, or do the questions, do they feel more like it's creating distance between you and the thing, and driving you away? And that's where we want to steer clear or get back, more important.
really, really, really love that. And that leads us into, look at us just flowing naturally, Kim. That leads us into our practical tips because yes, that like that differentiation between these questions, are they making me pause, stop, grasp, not address something, or are these questions just leading me into more curiosity and learning and that it's actually a good thing?
Mhm. 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 Yeah. So, to help with the distinction, you want to learn how to recognize when fear is showing up. And like we've already covered, and like I have, put my business all out in the streets, could be different. How fear shows up could be very different for us all. And so, um, again, for some of us, it can feel like something that we're not very aware of, connected to. Maybe we're in a little denial about.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then for others, it can feel more so like it's too much. It's everywhere. It drives my thinking that starts before I even open my eyes in the morning. And so
Mm.
to just be attentive to and aware of how that shows up. Um, you know me and Camille, we love to encourage us to like pay more attention to our body. Um, that we can at times not we can just sleep on the wisdom that's there. And so
Mhm.
try to use your body to help you learn how fear is showing up for you. Um,
Mhm.
Something that comes up with clients is, does this feel like, is this a fear thing, or is my gut, is my intuition kicking in? And so um I've shared with clients, we'll try to practice it. Um, and to practice again, like tuning into your body to get some insight on what it feels like. Intuition tends to feel more neutral, open and lighter in our bodies, versus fear can feel, like we said, kind of like a grasping, like a desperation kind of feeling, anxiousness. Um, I've heard clients describe as it feels more like kind of like a caving in versus a opening up. Um,
Mhm.
Heard clients describe it feeling like rushed, or heavy. So
Mhm.
just sharing that you might not fit into any of those. So again, that's a part of the work, is to learn what it looks like for you, but to
Yeah.
just give you some descriptors as far as like what I've heard.
Yeah. And that's so hard. That question is, ooh, I I personally, that question, is it fear, intuition? That is such a like common, real question. And so, yeah, it is something that comes up in therapy when people ask that. And I think that sometimes too, an important note is that if we do feel that it's fear, sometimes we then again pause and pay attention to that to say, well, what is this fear telling me?
Yeah.
This place, if I'm feeling this desperation, this grasping, this closing, this shakiness, this all of that, what is it telling me? Oh, maybe this is telling me this isn't safe and this doesn't feel right. And now I need to make a decision, not out of fear, but listening to the intuition that comes from, I shouldn't be in a relationship where I feel like this,
Yeah.
or I shouldn't be going to a workplace and feeling this anxiety every single day when I wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
That fear can lead us to a decision.
Hmm.
Um, and that's important to,
Hmm.
to to notice too.
Most definitely.
Um, Something that I like to do with clients when they're trying to make this like a decision about, what should I do? Is this intuition? Is this fear? All this kind of stuff, is actually having them in my office switch seats. So I will have them sit in different seats. Like say we're talking about, should I leave my job or not? Something like that. I might have them sit in one part of the couch where they have left their job. And then I might say, okay, on this other part of the couch, this is that you decided to stay. And it's really interesting. Sometimes it doesn't work all the time, but sometimes immediately when they switch seats, I'm like sitting there like, all right, I already know the answer. Because when she just sat in the seat about leaving the job, oh my gosh, now we're crying. Now we're falling apart. Now all this stuff is happening. And wow, that's probably not the best decision. But when she sits in this seat about, I am staying, right? There's a lightness, there's an openness that like, okay, I can do this. Maybe I still might have some, again, it might be a little bit fearful. I might need to use my courage, but I'm not being taken out here.
Hmm.
You could do, I did this with a client too once. I did like the flipping of the head. Like I took a coin and flipped it. And I was
Hmm.
like, how did your body react when it was
Yep.
this one? And they're like, my heart like kind of stopped. And it's like,
Yep.
all right, let's maybe you do want to do the other one.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
So being able to use our body as an indicator for what is this telling me about this situation, that's important.
Hmm. It'll let you know. I know, like for a lot of people, and for a lot of us, because this can be something, just going back to like building on all the things we talked about, where we can feel really like disconnected, or not trust that our body has the ability to let us know stuff, that it has this wisdom. But it really does, it again, it may just require practice and work and patience and practice and more work and more patience to trust it and to get there. But it's
Yeah.
there. Some of this is for sure like personal experience. There have been times like looking back, where my body, like it saved me. It let me know, no, like no, absolutely not,
Mhm.
or go. That's it. That's the direction to
Mhm.
go in.
Mhm.
So trust us. Consider doing some of these practices.
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
And with that, like our bodies will tell us, but there is a reality that sometimes we don't know yet. And
Mhm.
sometimes there might be a decision that we can switch seats and sit in different spots and we can flip the coin and we don't have any strong inklings either way. And that's okay too. That's okay that some of our decisions aren't um like known to us right away, or it takes some time. And the trust there would be that trusting that I will know.
Yeah.
I can trust that my body will tell me when it knows. And so I say this for me, but also for our sixes, we don't have to grasp to figure it out now. That there is some discomfort in the in between and the not knowing, but that's okay. But knowing that I will know eventually, I might not know now, but I will, and I can be in the in between that says, yeah, right now I'm not sure yet.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not sure yet. And for sixes who have that inner committee that we talked about, where they will like, ask a bunch of different people or turn it over a million ways in their head, or just be that super hyper vigilant planning self, that it's okay that if you don't know, you don't have to do all of those things. Again, we can have the confidence and the courage and the faith to say, I will be okay. I just don't know right now.
Yeah.
And that's all right to sit in that in-between spot. And that in-between spot might be uncomfortable as hell. It might be longer than you want it to be. You might not know if you want to leave your job for a whole year.
Yeah.
And that's all right.
Yeah.
If you'll know when you need to know, or if it's a marriage or a relationship, like you'll know when you need to know. And just trusting that even in the in-between, I will be taken care of.
Yeah. I mean, I find that oftentimes that's a part of like what the message is, right? So you check in with your, what do I want to eat? do I want Chick-fil-A? Do I want salad? Check in with your body. Not sure. Oftentimes that not like, I don't know, I didn't hear anything. That's the message, is keep coming back, keep checking in, right? Continue to develop that practice. And a part of that practice is learning to trust. And that's so, it's so important. It's so relevant really for all of us. It's especially relevant for sixes because sixes tend to lose sight of their capacity to trust themselves. Sixes be knowing because of the stuff we're talking about. The drive to want to be secure. Sixes truly can tend to like be able to trust themselves, but it can just feel really out of touch. All of this other kind of noise. Yeah. Did you just say the same thing?
We're on the same page, girl. Yeah, I got you. Noise.
can make it hard to be in touch with. And so sometimes a message when you check in and you're not sure is come back, keep practicing. Yeah. Keep checking in.
It's interesting, the example you gave about food. This is definitely a detour, but I do a lot of work with clients on like diet culture, unwinding diet culture, eating, intuitive eating stuff, disordered eating. And one of the practices is relearning your own intuition about what you want to eat, because we live in a world, and it's actually fitting right into sixes. We live in a world that we get told what to eat, right? We get told that this is the amount of calories you need. These are the macros you need. Yeah. You're supposed to have a salad. You're not supposed to have pasta. You're on Weight Watcher. Like you get told these prescriptive things. And so when we're unwinding diet culture, one of the hardest things, and this is actually one of the hardest things I had to learn, was what do I want to eat for dinner? And, it would annoy the shit out of me that question would take a long time, because I had to pause to go, do I want Chick-fil-A or do I want a salad tonight? And I don't know the answer. Yeah. And now I have to wait 20 minutes to figure out what I want. Yep. Instead of this, I have something at home that was part of this like, lean cuisine thing that I'm just going to, it's that pause of like, what do I actually want? Reconnecting with myself, that my body will tell me, you want a salad today. You haven't had any vegetables. Let's do a salad. We're really excited about the salad. Let's do that. Like, and so then I can actually intuitively go to that place. Yeah. With my own trust and my own knowledge and faith that my body will tell me what I want, as opposed to the inner committee of, nope, you're supposed to have this because you could only have like 50 calories for the rest of the day or something crazy like that. Yeah. And all that like just makes so much sense, even in that work that we sometimes have to do, of that untangling. And then sometimes what we learn is in those like 20 minutes I'm having to figure out what I want to eat, sometimes just having some snacks on hand that like, this will at least tide me over. So even when we think about these bigger issues of like, okay, if I don't know if I want to leave my job or not, and I'm in between, what are some things that I can do to tide me over? Maybe I'm going to see a therapist. Maybe I'm going to volunteer on the weekends because that brings me joy. Yeah. Maybe I'm going to try a different committee at work so I can see how that feels until I do know. So yeah, I'm going to eat some nuts until I figure out if I wanted the Chick-fil-A or the salad, because I don't know yet. And that's okay. Yeah. And eventually what's really cool when I think about it in the diet culture world, eventually that work that was annoying for me that took 20 minutes, now I know it. Now I know what I want. Oh, I want something crunchy tonight. Oh, I want something hot tonight. Oh, I want something green tonight. Like I know it quicker because I spent time in that in between.
So good. So good. Yep. I don't, that's not an area that I end up practicing in much. But that whole, some of the stuff I'm talking about as far as like intuition and even that example of using food and what you may want to eat as a way to practice it, I'd learned in doing the work I did with Chi Chi and her group. And ever since, I've just been trying to like practice that more. Like you said, like I've gotten to the point now to where I know, and it's been so helpful because I don't know, it's just added to like confidence when it comes to food. I know it may seem kind of like we've said, like trivial or menial to get frustrated, but we all know everybody, especially if you're in a relationship, right? Like, what do you want to eat? Like, it could be a huge source of like frustration. And so it feels good to know generally in the mornings, like, I am hungry and I do want to eat something and I don't want it to be, bacon, eggs, and grits because it doesn't feel good in my body. I really probably would prefer some steel cut oats. It's not going to be like super filling, but it's going to be just enough fuel to like help me to get started for the day. And then I need to plan to eat something for lunch, which is something that I wasn't doing. I would wait until I'll have coffee, wait and maybe have a snack or lunch and then have a heavier dinner. And that always just did not feel good in my body. So I'm glad we touched on this. I hope that it's helping some folks.
I mean, and we're scratching the surface on this stuff. I mean, we could do a whole entire separate podcast on food stuff. And even when you just said, I know it sounds trivial, I just want to share for folks that like food is not trivial, especially as women. And I'm not going to deny it for men too, but like food is extremely emotional. And it has, again, clients, I'll be like, no, we're allowed to talk about food in here because this is an important part of our life and the messages that we hear around food, and how it takes care of our body. And like you even just said, like I wasn't eating the whole day and that didn't feel good for me. And so, let's figure out some practices of self-care and intuition of, I like this in the morning. I need this at lunch. This feels better for me. That is so caring for our mental health. And so, but bringing it back to this idea with sixes is that like the in between, and it will get a little bit tricky and we're not going to know right away. Knowing that I will know and I will have the intuition of what I need to eat, if it's something small like that, but it's not small, or if it's something big of, do I need to leave this job? Do I need to leave this marriage? Do I need to take this job? Do I need to step into this relationship? All of that, trusting, courage, faith that like, I will be okay. I have the confidence to figure this out.
Yeah. Okay. So something else practical. And I love this. Because again, it involves trust and it's something that I practice myself. I got my trust jar and I have probably told all of my clients at this point that needs to be a practice, that you need to have a trust jar, but for sixes to rehearse times that the worst case scenario did not play out, that you weren't taken out, that you weren't destroyed, or really that you that you could trust yourself, right? That even though it may have been really uncomfortable, really scary, you were able to survive it. You were able to tap into your courage. You were able to move forward. And so to have a jar or a bottle, judge mine. And
I'm like, ooh, it's pretty. It's a liquor bottle. But it's really pretty. I did say, I was like, my original reaction was, ooh, that's pretty.
This is a Patron bottle.
Yeah.
Any transparent container, jar, bottle will do. But to take the time to write on like some small pieces of paper, Post-its, experiences you had, like, so, and looking back, you feel confident that you were able to, like, you can trust yourself. You trusted yourself, moved through it, and it ended up working out. You ended up surviving. You didn't get taken out. You weren't destroyed. Writing those down, putting them in your trust jar, and that way you have this evidence, right? This visual representation, that you can trust yourself. And it's still tell clients it can be good for us to like get off of the devices and taking notes, and actually like writing it down. That head body connection can be grounding, can be regulating. So actually, having the piece of paper, having the pen, having the pencil, and doing that reflection and writing some of these experiences out, put them in your trust jar.
I love that. It's such a great intervention. I should make that. I would like that. Another
I got an extra bottle if you want me to bring it the next time I'm in town.
I would like that because then it'll match yours and then I'll think of you. Okay. The other practical tip we have is this idea of act as if. This is actually a theoretical, like, it's one of my favorites. I remember learning in grad school. And so act as if is when we act as if. So we do something and we act as if we are X, Y, and Z. And so for sixes, we would want to say, what would it be like if you were to act as if you were unafraid? What would it be like if you were to act as if you had the most courage in this situation? And how could that idea of how you would act be a guide for you to how you want to move in your life? Bonus points if you actually want to go do the thing and act as if. So not just thinking about what it would be like if I acted as if, but if I actually showed up and acted as if.
Yeah.
And so what's usually pretty cool about this intervention, and I remember liking it back then when I learned it, is that usually the client will come back and go, I did that thing and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Or I do have the ability to X, Y, and Z. Yeah. And so for sixes, it would be that realization that, oh, I actually do have the ability to be really courageous. I do have the ability to lean into knowing that I will be okay. And that's really cool. And that's the cool part about that intervention of act as if. So that's another thing that sixes could really practice.
Really good one. Mm-hmm. And so finding ways to lean into your faith, whatever, as Camille explained earlier, kind of however that looks for you, whatever that means for you, whatever it is that you recognize kind of exists outside of you, yielding to that and looking for ways to like actually lean into it. So for me, I mean, that, generally looks like prayer, worship. And I, again, like I will figure out how to work it in. I try to make sure the time that I'm walking Casey during the day, that I'm not like distracted, not checking emails. Like I just take that time to actually spend with God. And so that's one of the practices that helps me lean in there on a daily basis.
Yeah. Just being creative and curious around what your practices are. Also recognizing that our practices can ebb and flow and change. And so there might be a season where you're really feeling gospel music. And then there's a season that like, no, that's not it. I really want to do a devotional. Or just being outside makes me feel really connected to my higher power and to my faith system, or journaling, or worship services, or podcasts that are old sermons. Like just being able to link into yoga, meditation. What is it that helps me lean into my bigger than me sense about this world?
Yeah. And I find that even if it feels like, I don't know, like don't stop there. Don't get stuck there. Like, believe it or not, if you kind of just, put it out there that you want to know, like, so for me, again, that may look like God, like show me ways to incorporate you and spending time with you in my crazy schedule more. Like it'll come to you. It'll be revealed to you. You'll see it, or you'll hear it, or you'll know it. And so don't get too discouraged if that feels like, like I don't know what to do. You can start with that step, right? Just putting it out there that you do. You want to be open to what that looks like, and trust that those answers, if they're in there, they're going to come to you.
Yeah. And what we just talked about, like, what could I do in the in-between of not knowing? What could I do to tide me over? So like that silly example of like, I'm going to eat almonds until I can figure out what I want for dinner. What can I do in the in-between? You got your almonds. Even when you think about your spiritual practices, maybe you're not sure if you want to go back to church yet. Maybe that's not where you're at yet. So what can I do in the in-between? Yeah, I'm going to take a walk and listen to a podcast. And that feels like that's where I can show up right now. Or I'm going to find some meditation practices that really speak to my spiritual sense. That's where I'm at right now until I figure out what is next for me around my higher power things. Again, don't let the questions and the fear stop you. Let the questions and the fear be a curiosity.
Yep.
And I find that a lot I've actually had a couple of sessions recently with some clients around faith and their spirituality, especially with the pandemic. That's a real thing, is that church service changed, things changed with the pandemic. And so them figuring out, oh, I used to go to church every Sunday, but now I don't know what to do about that. And it's like, okay, well, where do you feel comfortable right now?
Yeah.
And they might be like, I like listening to a podcast about this. All right, then just start there. And then eventually you'll figure out what you need to do and what church you want to go to. And if you want to go to church and what that means, we'll figure it out later, but start where you are.
Yep. I feel like we give him, but this is the last thing I'll say about this, because it's been coming up a lot, is to not get so hung up on like the perfect plan. And 6s, 7s, 5s, like planning. So to not get, so preoccupied with being in planning mode. With clients, I've been having them just draw out a set of steps. Again, that mind body connection, actually draw it on a sticky note, draw it on a piece of paper, and remind yourself that you don't have to know the whole plan. Just look for a step, and then look for another step, and then look for another step. And then by doing that, again, you're building that trust muscle. You're building that courage muscle, the faith muscle, and also you're learning. Like oftentimes the way we know what to do next is through experiencing. It's not by waiting and then, writing out the whole plan first. It's by actually making some moves and feeling, ooh, that feels great. Ooh, that's not it. That's not it. So looking for those steps and trusting that that's a way that you will get to know if you feel like you don't know.
I'm learning. Maybe because 6s are my next door neighbor, and I do feel like I maybe have a strong 6 wing, but I'm getting something out of this today. I'm going to have to reflect on all the things that we're talking about, because this is speaking to me. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. We're wrapping up. So last part is to be aware of how we can all weaponize our type structure. So again, this goes back to Chi-Chi's book, The Enneagram for Black Liberation. She beautifully helps us to understand when it comes to our community, right? How you learn about your type structure for your growth, maybe your intimate relationships, personal relationships, but just also, this can apply to anybody, how you interact with just the people who are around you, and being cautious to not weaponize your armor against others. And so for 6s, that can look like, because you rely so much on being vigilant, because you rely so much on a preoccupation with safety and security, that can lead to 6s having maybe a little bit of a haughtiness, an inflated sense of self when it comes to that. And so therefore you may look down on, or don't really rock with, or trust people who don't show up and rely on vigilance in the same way that you do.
Yes. Just being careful. Yeah. How we don't weaponize it and judge others, or even step away from relationships because someone else doesn't do it the way that we do. Like you said, we don't rock with people. So making sure that you're not blocking something because it's different than you.
Yeah.
Everybody's different. It takes all kinds of kinds. And today we got to dive into the kind that is the 6, and we like it. We love it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, we did that. Let us know what y'all think.
Yes, please.
And
I still want to go back to hearing what type 6's scariest movie they've ever seen is. Can't wait to hear it.
Let us know. Let us know. But you said bonus points if it's a Disney movie.
I think The Mummy is from Disney, actually. I think it is a Disney movie. Hold on, let me see here. The Mummy from 1999, and still sticks with me. It is not a Disney movie. It's Universal Pictures.
Well, Jumanji, Jumanji is.
It was scary.
I'm looking to make sure. No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not. Sony. Columbia. Yeah. Not
Okay.
Disney. So
Okay.
I'm glad I checked. So we're back. Still bonus points out there for E6s if yours is a Disney movie. We'll see y'all. We held you long enough. We'll see you in the next episode.
We'll see you on the next episode.
Bye.